The Riyadh regime's contribution to the clampdown on peaceful protesters in the tiny Persian Gulf kingdom of Bahrain has caused an imbalance between political forces and has been the key issue failing dialogue so far. This was the main outcome deduced by international strategic analysts and other participants who gathered in the Lebanese capital Beirut to discuss the consequences of the Saudi intervention on the political and human rights situation in Bahrain.
The Saudi troops have contributed to the killing, to the manipulation in the demographic balance, to the torture and to the destruction of mosques. They are destroying places of worship in Bahrain. Not only is this a violation of international laws, but they are helplessly trying to portray our dispute with Al Khalifa as one based on religion, whereas it is simply a pursuit of justice and freedom.
In a move aimed at crushing the peaceful demonstrations, thousands of troops were led by the Saudi government into Bahrain across the King Fahd Causeway, binding the two monarchies. The troops were part of a so-called shield formed back in the 80s by the Persian Gulf Cooperation Council to confront any foreign attack. But in this case, the forces were used to quell the popular uprising in Bahrain.
We are a Bahraini people. We think the USA and UK, they give the green light, okay, to tanks to come from Riyadh to cross the bridge between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. We are victims of USA decisions to help the dictatorship in Bahrain, okay, and to help the other dictatorship in Riyadh to continue their occupation of our country.
Moreover, analysts labeled as a disgrace the UK and US's administrations breaking international laws by providing arms to a regime oppressing its civilian population, mindful of the human rights violations and abuses going on.
This is a blatant violation of international law. They have no regard for democracy or freedom or anything that related to that. We know that the American, they are concerned about how to promote their interests, military interests, especially in Bahrain, and economic interests in Bahrain, and they care about the Fifth Fleet, and they have no regard whatever for all these killing and destruction that is taking place by the Bahraini monarchy against its own people.
In mid-February of 2011, Bahrainis began an uprising calling for reform in their constitution and for equality among all citizens. But in a harsh response, the regime led a forceful offensive against demonstrators, killing and injuring scores of them amid Western and international silence. This, as well as the use of internationally forbidden arms and arrest and torture sprees led by regime officials, worsened the situation, as now the demonstrations continue across the kingdom. Observers argue that the main reason for the failure of dialogue between political rivals in Bahrain is the Saudi and Western backing for the Manama regime, which they say is aimed at preserving autocratic monarchies in the Persian Gulf at a time when the whole world seems to be advancing towards democracy. Altaf Ahmed, Press TV, Beirut.